1942. The world was screaming. From the Pacific Islands to the Russian grasslands, the Axis power seemed unstoppable. But in the United States, a different kind of front was opening. It wasn't fought with guns and manpower, but with graphite and math. The location was absurd: an abandoned squash court under the west viewing fields of a football stadium. Here laid the foundation of the Manhattan Project, coded as MetLab, was tasked with a gamble that sounded straight out of a science fiction movie. It was Chicago Pile 1. It wasn't a sleek machine, it was a 20-foot tall stack of 40,000 graphite blocks. Inside those blocks were 50 tons of uranium fuel. The goal was simple but terrifying: create a self sustaining nuclear chain reaction. The science behind it: when a neutron hits a uranium 235 atom, it splits, releasing energy and more neutrons. But those neutrons move too fast. The graphite acted as a moderator, slowing them down so they could hit the next atom. If the math was right, the reaction would grow. If the math was wrong, the city of Chicago would disappear into mere ashes. At the center of it was Enrico Fermi. While the war raged outside, Fermi stood in the cold, dusty court on December 2nd, 1942. He was the navigator. His map was a slide rule. Safety measures were primitive. A suicide squad stood up top the pile with junks of cadmium nitrate solution to pour over the bricks if something went wrong. George Wheel stood on the floor, hand on a single wooden control rod. Zip, Fermi commanded. The rod was pulled. The clicking of the Geiger counters began to climb. It wasn't just noise, it was the sound of the atomic age being born. At 3:25 p.m., the reactor achieved criticality. The neutron flux reached a self-sustaining state for exactly 28 minutes. For 28 minutes, a man created by the dust of stars controlled the power of stars. Fermi had proven that a plutonium producing plant, and eventually a bomb, could physically be possible. Fermi's control was so precise that he could keep the reaction at a steady state by slightly adjusting the control rods. He balanced the reactor on the head of the pin, proving that nuclear energy could be harvested safely rather than just released in an instant explosion. With the proof of the concept finished in Chicago, the project's center of gravity shifted under the direction of J. Robert Oppenheimer. The Manhattan Project moved to the city of Los Alamos. Oppenheimer was the coordinator of rapid rupture, the man who had to turn Fermi's slow burn into a devastating blast. Oppenheimer assembled a who's who of 20th century physics, but among the geniuses there were shadows. The ghost in the lab, Klaus Fluch. One of the most brilliant men on the team was Klaus Fluch, a German born physicist who had fled the Nazis. He was quite diligent and trusted with the most sensitive secrets of the implosion, designed for the plutonium bomb. But Fuchs was a sleeper agent. Even as he helped build the American bomb, he was meticulously sketching the designs and passing them to the Soviet couriers. The very secrets born under the Chicago bleachers were being funneled to Moscow before the first test was even conducted. The fire that Fermi lit didn't just belong to the military. It was a new way to fuel civilization. In 1951, EBR-1 in Idaho became the first reactor to generate usable electricity. Today, nuclear power provides 10% of the world's electricity and nearly 20% in the USA, all stemming from the steady state. This proved the same neutrons that could destroy an entire nation could also heal an entire nation. The creation of radioisotopes in reactors like the one in Oak Ridge revolutionized medicine. Over 40 million nuclear medicine procedures are performed annually using tracers and radiation therapy to detect and treat cancer.